Today, I'm going to show you how my laundry room went from this to this. I'm going to take you along for the journey from start to finish and share with you all the tips that I used to save some major money. So if that sounds great to you, hang tight because we're going to get right into it. My laundry room kind of became the place where we dumped everything, and it was not a fun place to be. It was dark, it was dingy, and it needed a major refresh. Before you even enter into my laundry room, there are 3 doors at the end of this little back entry, and everyone gets confused what door is for which. To make it easy, I decided to go ahead and put laundry on my laundry room door. Makes sense to me, right? Super simple. I'm just using my Cricut Explore 3 to do this. I headed into Design Space, I typed in the word laundry, and then I went up to fonts and I typed in Annie Lou. It's one of my favorite scripty fonts. After that, I sized it to the size I want that would fit perfectly on my door, and then I hit Make It. I decided to go ahead and use my smart vinyl for this. So nice to use the smart vinyl because I just put it in the roller, feed it through, and I don't even need to bother with a mat. But of course you can do this on a mat as well. Once it was all done cutting, I just weeded that, added the transfer tape, and applied that straight to the door. I did use removable vinyl, so if we ever want to paint the door, that's not a big deal. And now I'm not worried about anyone getting lost down my hall. After that, it was time to get started on the laundry room itself. I am excited to be able to share all of these tips and tricks with you. So to start off with, of course, I had to clear the space. So I took everything out, wiped it down, got rid of these curtains that had been here for a while. I've been in my house for 16 years. That's how long these have been here, so it was time to say goodbye. To start off with, I wanted to paint the walls because one of my biggest complaints about my laundry room was how dark it was. It almost felt like a dungeon. It does have a window, but it didn't seem to get a lot of light in it. So I definitely wanted to brighten it up, and thankfully, paint can do magical things. Before I could even paint, I had to tape everything off, and I used a combination of painter's tape and frog tape. Frog tape is great for those areas that you want to be extra cautious about. After that, we did wipe down the walls, make sure they were good and clean. And then I only had to use 1 coat of paint because I'm using the HGTV Sherwin-Williams. Can I say that any slower? This is in Milk Bloom. I know, it looks like it's almost a white, but honestly, it has more of like an oat color to it. So just a subtle creamy color, and it was the perfect color to help brighten up this room. We actually have this pegboard in the room as well, and it was this red color. We've had it for years, and I wanted to paint it the same color as the wall just to help it kind of disappear into the wall, but still be able to use it because it's so functional to have into this room. My laundry room is really large, and it can serve a lot of purposes, and I want it to be able to do so, but I did not need this pegboard to be an eyesore. Because it was red, I did prime it first, and then I used the exact same color I used on the wall to give it a nice coat. Again, I only needed 1 coat to coat it, but I think this looks so much better. The baskets I grabbed off of Amazon, and I absolutely love that they came in different sizes. These were a winner for this pegboard. The biggest impact in the entire laundry room, honestly, is the fact that I made my washer and dryer look like they were built-ins. This is where I'm really excited that my husband stepped in and he did this project with me because 2 brains are always better than 1. So for the base of this, which is where we started, we're using cabinet grade plywood, and look how beautiful the grain of wood is on this. Absolutely gorgeous. We picked up a 4x8 at Home Depot, and I still have plenty of wood left over from this project to use on future projects, so it was definitely a great investment to do this. You can get other wood if you want to, if you don't have some sort of saw to cut, but this definitely is a more budget-friendly way to go. Our largest piece is the one that goes down the side of the washing machine, and that became the side of the cabinet. Now we cut this 41.5 inches tall, specifically because we knew that that's kind of a standard for most washing machines and dryers these days, and we wanted to give room if we had to replace ours. And then 30 inches is the depth of it. To make sure we had a nice snug fit, my husband did go ahead and remove the trim that was along the side of the cabinet. This is the only part that we had to remove, and then we did cut a little end off of the front of it to make sure it was nice and straight. And as you can see, this piece fits perfectly right here. From there, we actually cut pieces to go along the wall and screwed those in for the top to rest on. That is still the exact same plywood piece that we started off with. And to cap things off so that they would actually have that finished look, we're using 1x2s. We placed them next to the cabinet, kind of back, and then because we wanted this to kind of come out a little bit farther to match up with a washer and dryer, of course we had a piece there. We had another piece at the same distance on the other side of the dryer, and we have a piece that goes all the way across the front of it as well. Now for extra support, we did add a piece in the center underneath. To connect all of these together, we actually used a pocket hole jig. I'm not saying that you need to get one, but if you're gonna do projects like this, it definitely makes it a lot easier. You can find some for around $30, but honestly, you're looking at $75 to up to like a little over $100 for a really good quality one, and I definitely think it's worth the investment. Before painting, I did go in and I sanded everything really well and then primed all these pieces. I actually primed and painted before we even attached them. Once they were primed, I did go in with a cabinet grade paint and I'm painting them in this beautiful blue. This is called Tree Swallow. Isn't this gorgeous? Now, I will tell you, we haven't painted the cabinets yet. We're still debating if we want to leave the cabinets more of the white color that they are now, or if we want to paint them this exact blue color. I'd love to know what you think, so leave that for me in the comments below. At Home Depot, we grabbed the 2x6 in 12 feet in length. Let me tell you, that's always tricky to get home. Luckily, we had this little truck, it's a workhorse, but we had it coming through the window. You guys, that was a sight to see, and it definitely made it for an interesting ride because not only were we driving like this, but we were also trying to beat the rain that day because boy, did we have quite a storm. We got them home and then we went ahead and cut them so they were each 6 feet in length. And then from there, we were able to work on them. We first went ahead and put them on to see what they would look like. And as you can see, they look really good, but there is some unevenness and they don't butt up perfectly. So what we did is we went ahead and we did plane them, which smooths them out nice and pretty. Then after that, my husband did jerry rig his own little jig and we jointed each one of these. Now, that does sound like a lot of work, and it is, but it was worth it and it saved us so much money. However, you can buy wood that is already planed and jointed and you can skip this whole step. It does cost a little bit more. You also can buy a tabletop like at IKEA, and that would be a beautiful option, or you can find a tabletop either thrifting on the side of the road. There are other alternatives so that you can skip that entire step. After the wood was all ready, all we did was glue it and then use these really large clamps in order to hold it together for a 24-hour period while it's set up and cured. From there, my husband used his circular saw to clean up the edge so it would be nice and straight. Before placing it on, we did give it a final sanding, starting with a grittier sandpaper and finishing up with a finer grit sandpaper. We also took the sander over the edges just to give it a nice little curvature on those edges. You guys, this turned out so beautiful. And then this was ready to go right on top. Again, we went in with a couple more pocket holes and screwed in the top just on one side, and it is nice and secure. We have not stained it yet. Again, that is another question up for debate. We are not sure what color we want to stain it. I am loving the light color it is now, and I want to keep it light. So if you have a stain option for us, again, leave that for us in the comments because we got to figure that out soon. So something else that was kind of bothering me was kind of the wear and tear on my washing machine. Again, my washing machine is 16, 17 years old. I know it's not gonna last forever, but I'm not ready to boot her yet. So I just grabbed some Rust-Oleum paint. You can also pick up some appliance paint if you want to, but I didn't want to pay the extra money for something I know is probably not gonna last me another 10 years. After sanding and wiping it off, I did go ahead and paint a couple of coats of this on here, and I am so grateful that I took the time to do this. I think it looks so much better, and I definitely can love my machine for a few more years. So my laundry room all started with this cute little tin. I picked this up at Walmart. I absolutely love it. I keep my OxiClean in here because I use a liquid detergent, but I thought this was adorable, and everything that I am doing to design around my laundry room, this is where it started. The next thing I did was to do this little box. I got this box from Courtney from Creative on the cheap. It was part of a mystery box challenge. When I got this box, I knew I would never use it for my recipe cards, but I thought it would be perfect in the laundry room, and it was so easy to do. So to start off with, I took that recipe box out to my spray tent. After it dried, I did take a 320 grit sandpaper and gave it a light sanding and a little distressing. In Design Space, I typed in Open Daily. I went ahead and I stuck with Cricut sans for the font. I thought it was perfect. It was clean and simple. After that, I went into Images. I typed in Laundry, scrolled through until I found this really simple one. I thought it was perfect. Again, I sized it so it fit perfectly on the front of the box. Once I had everything sized, I hit Make It. When it was done cutting, I weeded the vinyl, applied the transfer tape, and then it was ready for me to apply it to the box. On the top of it, I just added Open Daily, and then on the front of it, it says Self-Service, Laundry, Wash, Dry, and Fold. I also have this half wooden bead I think would be perfect to go over this hole at the top so that I don't have to hang this if I don't want to, but first I'm gonna go ahead and paint this with elephant so that it matches everything. Once that's dried, I go ahead and use some wood glue in order to attach it. Now the hole from the back is still there, so either I can hang it or I can sit this on a shelf. It doesn't matter. This is great for like clothespins, loose change, dryer sheets, so many different options for all those little small things you may have in your laundry room. I just think it's so adorable and so useful, and honestly, super easy to duplicate it because these boxes are a dime a dozen if this is something that you would like to do for your own laundry room. I also wanted to do a really large sign above the sink in my laundry room. I had seen this really beautiful sign on Etsy, but it was $130, and I knew that I could make something similar for so much less. And I found this large sign at Hobby Lobby on clearance for only $11. So it's one of my favorite ways to get signs, is either on clearance or thrifted. So I brought that home and I taped it off and painted it first with just white, and then to tone that bright whiteness, I mixed it with a little bit of ivory, and then I thinned it with a little bit of water, and that's what I used to paint the second coat. Once that dried, I headed into Design Space, and I always like to start off with a shape that represents my sign. So I clicked on square, I unlocked it, and I sized it to the same size as my sign itself, and then it was time for me to design the sign. I typed in It All Comes Out, and then I went through and I found a font. I love playing with different fonts until I come up with one I really like. Once I chose a font that I liked, I sized that where I wanted it, and then I knew that I wanted to use a script font for in the wash. So again, I played with different fonts until I found one that I liked. I sized that to what I wanted, and then it was time for me to cut it. This definitely had to cut in 2 different pieces because it was so large. I chose to cut this with smart vinyl, but you could cut this on a mat as well. Once I had it cut out, I went ahead and weeded it, applied the transfer tape, and then applied that to my sign. I find it easier sometimes to work with a really large decal than I do a small decal. It just weeds easier, it applies easier. There's so many things about it that I think actually are easier. It looks intimidating, but trust me, it is so much easier. And if you've never done a large sign, I encourage you to give it a go. I picked up this little gray basket to set in my laundry room because everybody needs a place to put dirty items in their laundry room, or at least we do. And normally these are for towels. Every once in a while, the random little clothing item might find its way in here, but I wanted to make sure I had a place for those dirty things. I also picked up these containers from Walmart. I love these. I love the color of the plastic and the wooden lids. I thought they were so cute. I got 2 for just under $10, and I used my Cricut to go ahead and create some labels for them. Again, I'm using that Annie Lou font. It's one of my favorite scripty fonts. I think it's really cute. So I labeled one of them with laundry soap, which really is our travel laundry soap. You know, those little bitty packs that sometimes you get for free? I love having those on hand. And then the top one I labeled with dryer sheets. Super easy to grab one and toss it right on in. I absolutely love these, and using your Cricut to label things is great because then you can customize the size. It is one of my favorite ways to use my Cricut. The last few items that I grabbed for the laundry room were these Turkish towels and this rug. I grabbed both of these on Amazon. I'm gonna make sure I leave links for any of these items that you are interested in down below in the description box. So here is a quick reminder of what the room looked like before And here is what it looks like now, a complete transformation. Here's another video that I know that you will enjoy. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.